What's up, everybody? Sober Identity Podcast. We're back. It's been a few months, I want to say. Life gets busy and things happen, but I'm super stoked. This podcast is all about being done with alcohol. We're done playing small. We're done living this chaotic lifestyle, and we're here to build. We're here to build these new lives, lives that aren't controlled by booze. And I'm just super fired up. I've got an amazing guest. In fact, I got multiple guests in line this month that I'm excited to have these conversations with. But this one in particular, I've got Meghan here on the podcast. I was fortunate enough to be on her show on the Sober Strong podcast a few months back. I kind of forget. It's been a while ago now, but she's amazing. She's a mother of four.
Two.
She's gone through, oh, just two. Okay.
Well, four. I have two dogs and two kids.
That's why, because
Yes.
I read your bio. Cool. Okay, so you have two fur babies, if
Two
you
fur
will.
babies.
So yeah, so she's a family woman. She's got a wonderful following with her Sober Strong coaching brand, content creation. So I'm just really excited to have her here. And the big thing is just having real people with raw stories that maybe you can resonate with. A lot of us have gone through sobriety, and there's just been certain stories or individuals that have maybe really clicked for us and been like, oh, that sounds just like me, or I've absolutely been through that, or I'm going through it now. And it's so cool to see someone actually make it out on the other side. So really excited to have you here, Meghan. I want you to give us your real intro, like who you were before sobriety and what finally pushed you to say, I'm done.
I was a sloppy drunk. I was the blackout. I was the queen of just shoving alcohol in people's faces, and I was the party girl. I started drinking in 2002 at class of 2002's graduation party. So I was born in 87. So I was 15 years old when I started drinking. And after that, I just didn't know any different. That was my social lubricant. That's how I got through life. All the emotions, the grief, the anger, the past traumas, dealing with traumas that I went through. I look back and I was a gross drunk. I mean, some people can enjoy their alcohol and have one glass here and there. I never could stop at one. It was one until I blacked out.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So describe your very first drinking experience. What was that? What was that like for you? Why did you decide to make that happen at that age? Kind of give us a glimpse into the very beginning.
So I grew up, and I will always say no fault to my parents. I mean, they were young parents, a young group of parents that all hung out. Everybody drank. It was just always about parties. And I would like take sips here and there since I was little. I think they all thought it was funny when I think I was like 2 or 3 when I took my first sip of beer. And so fast forward to 15, I went to a graduation party. My dad dropped me off at this one and he went to a different one. I grew up in a small town. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody's drama. Like everybody knew everything about everybody. And everybody was friends, I guess you could say. So I was at this party. My dad was at this party. I walk upstairs and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I walk upstairs and there's this guy named Mitch. He's my age and he has the vodka and the tequila. And I mean, obviously it's cheap. I mean, we're 15 to 18 years old and everybody else was in this other room already having a good time. And I decided to take 6 shots. And then I go and I find my friend that I grew up with. She was like a sister to me. And they're like, oh my gosh, you took 6 shots. You're going to be feeling that here soon. And I'm just like, hee, just, a typical girl. And then I don't know, the in between, I just remember laying on the bed. Everybody was just laying, staring at the ceiling, having a good old time, laughing, just, enjoying life. And then I vaguely remember getting home. I think I started puking. And then my mom was working swing shift or graveyard. I don't know which one. She was gone that night. And she came home mid me puking and was so mad, so mad. And I remember waking up in the morning and she was like, she needs to go to rehab. I was like, that was my first time drinking. It was a joke back then. I just, I was just young. I had no idea what I was doing. And I started hanging out with the drinking crowd and I liked the drinking crowd. I fit in with the drinking crowd. I hung out with older people. I mean, back then, it wasn't so weird to date somebody a few years older than you without your without there being issues. So I always hung out with the older people. Like when I was 18, my boyfriend turned 21 and we were together for 4 years. And so it was just, I was constantly just finding these relationships that everybody was just revolved around drinking. Their parents drank. Everybody was okay with all the young kids drinking, bonfires, mountain parties. I played volleyball. And I remember a couple of the moms told my mom, well, your daughter's going to get an MIP. Well, karma's a bitch. And those daughters actually got the MIPs, and I never got an MIP. I guess I was always, I don't know, the wrong place at the right time or something like that. Like, I always just, I mean, I have jumped fences after fence after fence. I've laid in ditches. I did the whole running from the cops thing. Never got in trouble, but should have many times, guilty by association also. And I don't know, I think when it started becoming a problem is I got suspended from my first volleyball game. I think it was my senior year. I was just my boyfriend at the time. We ended up at a bonfire and some of the other volleyball girls came with and they didn't like it or something. And I got in trouble, got suspended, and I was like, oh, that's so stupid. I didn't even do anything wrong. Then it migrated into college. I went to University of Oregon for a year. I got put on academic probation because I just only cared about drinking. My dad still jokes, oh, she got a bachelor's in alcoholism. I mean, it just, it was, you know, 18 to right before I turned 21, right around there. And our whole entire dorm, our second floor was just crazy. All of us just partied. Some were gifted. They were very smart. They could party until 4 o'clock in the morning and still be on the dean's list. I was not that person. I didn't care. I only cared about football and sports. And it just led to me coming home, getting with a person who was a little younger than me, and he was actually into drugs too. So here's the weird thing is growing up, I hated cigarettes. They were disgusting. They're going to kill you. They're terrible for you. And heaven forbid, I will never touch drugs. Never in my life. Well, I mean, I got accused because obviously guilty by association, but I've only seen the white stuff once and it freaked me out. And I just got to thinking, like, oh my gosh, if the cops showed up, I would be in so much trouble just from being there. This was back, 2007, 2008. Looking back now, how I used to just diss how bad all those things were. But yeah, I'm consuming the most toxic, addictive substance out there. I'm sitting here dissing all these other things and just consuming alcohol like it's candy.
Right. Right. I want to go back real quick. Now that you look back on when you first started and your parents' reaction to that, how did that make you feel in that moment of your mom's reaction of like not being that concerned for you, more of like, send her to rehab. Let's go. Like, you have a problem. I don't want to deal with this. Let's go. How does that factor into how you progressed with your drinking and just being obviously pretty chaotic with one main focus? Like, did that factor in any way?
So it's funny, and I'm not talking bad about her at all because she might watch this, but just looking back, it's just so funny that she did that. She was totally okay with me drinking around her. She would buy me alcohol. I would have my friends over. She was completely okay with me drinking in her presence. I think because she was in control and could. I mean, I think that's just a mom thing. Like, oh yeah, you can do whatever as long as I'm around. I mean, not maybe not like that, but in that situation, as long as I was with her, she didn't care. But as soon as I started going elsewhere, she started getting mad. And um, I I've always just laughed at that statement because you wanted to send me to rehab when I was 15 years old for my first time drinking, but I grew up around drinking. Everybody that I grew up with should have went to rehab. If I was the only one or that you thought that should go to rehab and I had one night of being puking drunk. I mean, I don't know. Like it was just funny because we grew up with so many alcoholics, like legit wake up, start drinking, lose their jobs because of alcohol. You have many Deweys, many just bad things happen in their life because of alcohol. Um, and then there was me. I'm like, I need to go to rehab.
Right. I mean, being surrounded with it like that and having your mom basically enabling you and being like, it's cool if you drink with me, but if you start venturing out, like now we have a problem. What a crazy dynamic that is for you growing up as a teen. You know,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild to think. And I know there's plenty of families that are the exact same way. You know, I mean, there's alcoholics everywhere. It's a way for families to connect. As weird as that sounds, right? Like we just that's what we do. And then we get into some deeper conversations and maybe remove some of those barriers that we have and hear some awesome stories and stuff. So then that the drinking and the family time just goes hand in hand. So it totally makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody that I grew up with, and to be fair, every single family I grew up with, all the parents were the same age. They all partied together. All of us kids started drinking about the same age. And I mean, just growing up in a smaller town, and a lot of people will say it's not just a small town, which I mean, I understand. I didn't grow up in a big city, so I don't know. I just grew up in a small town. Everybody just smoked weed and drank. That's all everybody did. And I grew up riding horses, and I started working at the age of 11 or 12. I was cleaning my dad's shop. I was babysitting. I was always responsible. So I guess I never let alcohol really r- get in the way of my high school grades. I was a 4.0 student my senior year, got into U of O. I mean, I like looking back, I'm like, oh, I wasn't that bad because I crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. But that was the beginning of a slippery slope for sure.
So you get to U of O. What was kind of your weekly routine? I mean, are you remotely focused on academics? Do you have any sort of dream you're going after, or anything that like a goal you're setting, or were you like awesome college parties, boys, like sports, like screw everything else, or kind of what was that like for you?
I was the first to go to a university out of my family. And so I didn't really, I mean, I learned my work ethic from my dad, but I don't think I had the structure to learn what I needed to do in college. Yeah, of course, there's guidance counselors and whatever, but I mean, I've always just been I'm just going to go with the flow type person. So going, I met with my counselor. He helped me set up my grades or my classes, and I did really good my first term. And then towards the end of the first term, I said, I ain't doing this for 7 years because, I mean, I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I started thinking of the LSAT and the bar exam. And I'm like, I cannot do this. And so I just started taking stupid random classes that had nothing to do with anything in particular. I did do really good in like the social studies type classes. I was not good in writing class, math, that was terrible. But I did good in certain classes, like I would get B's in. But I took like a linguistics class and I took a German class. Like it was just like all over the place because my first term I cared, and then after the first term I found friends, new friends, a new life of just partying. It was fun. I actually got in trouble. I had to take an alcohol class because I was caught with alcohol in my hand in my dorm from our RA. And a few of us had to go to this class, but we just joked through it. It was just, you know, didn't teach us anything. We were just young, what, 18 years old. So
Right.
that didn't stop me from drinking. Went with the intentions of being the first to do something in my family like that. And then I just fell back into the alcohol trap and came home and worked for Lowe's distribution center in my hometown.
Gotcha. So that's so interesting. You know, basically starting off your college experience with something that excited you and then hitting that moment of like, this is too hard. But do you think it was truly too hard for you? Or was this just a total fear based, like, let me fall back into my comfort trap of boozing and partying?
Definitely the comfort trap.
Mhm. So we're in college now. What was the most painful moment for you when it came to drinking to where you finally had to look yourself in the mirror and go, this may be a problem?
Well, which time? Like before I quit or in my early 20s?
In any of this stretch, so obviously that accelerates things perhaps, but where in this whole theme of we're drinking, we're partying, we're taking the easy route, we're kind of getting in trouble, but we think it's funny to like where does it start to get to this point of like, uh-oh, now it's getting kind of bad. I need to start taking a look at this.
I don't know if I ever really did the whole I'm going to take a look at this, but there were many experiences during college that I would wake up and cringe at myself. And why did I do that? I mean, just I'm sure you can use your imagination. I mean, I put myself in some pretty weird situations. One night I went out, I parked my car at my friend's house. These girls liked to do things up their nose as well as drinking. And one had just broken up with her boyfriend and was very depressed. And I don't know what happened. We were somewhere and I ended up finding my way back. So I'm in downtown Eugene, 18 years old and wasted. I ended up finding my way back. I think I flagged down this car. I don't know. Don't know. Ended up back at the house. She's passed out, couldn't get in. All the doors are locked. Uh, the guys next door were not straight guys. So I guess I felt comfortable going to their house. And I called my mom and she came down and got me. And then my car was an impound because it got towed because it was in a bad parking spot. I mean, that was kind of a really like, I should probably get my crap together, but I didn't. And then I wrecked one of my cars. I ran into a guardrail leaving an ex-boyfriend's house. We got in a fight and I was trying to get to my friend's house and I wrecked my car. Nobody got hurt. I didn't get hurt. My car got hurt. And I mean, should have taken a look at my life then. I mean, I should have taken a look at a lot of things, but in the moment, you don't realize it.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, now that we've both been through an extensive period of sobriety, and now you can look at this from a whole different lens and go back in time. I have many times over in a lot of my days, I've thought back and been like, wow, like talk about the complete utter denial of actually what I was doing. And same thing, like you've been through the same thing. Like I so resonate with your story because I had, in different ways. It's just this theme of being so reckless and just
Yes.
kind of like laughing it off, right? It's being reckless, laughing it off. You look at other people doing the same thing and you're like, well, I guess I'm just in the place I should be and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not really that bad in trouble. Like, okay, I crashed my car. Okay, some weird stuff happens at some parties. I'm dating idiots. Like, but you're not spending any time thinking about that because you're just on to the next drink, on to the next happy hour, the next party, the next buzz, the next numbing it out, the next not going after your dreams. Like it's a nasty cycle,
I
and I
don't
totally get it.
think like so I'll be sober 2 years in July and I don't think when I was drinking, I looked back at my past and felt shame or regret. But then I got sober and everything started just hitting me differently. The way I was, my morals went out the door. I mean, I let my dreams go out the door, all the things. And, looking back, I mean, I have to deal with that shame, the regret, the guilt of all of that. But when I was in full blown drinking, I mean, it never phased me, ever.
Yeah, me
That was
neither.
stupid. Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but also at the same time, you kind of are going. I mean, towards the tail end of my drinking career, if you will, there started to be moments where it was just a total sign, and I'm like,
Mm,
if I keep rolling here, like we are pushing the edge of really getting in trouble. So I just wonder for you, how far did you have to push it to get to that point of obviously, and congrats on 2 years coming up. That's absolutely amazing. But like where was that moment for you? And if you could describe that for people, because I think that is key for those who listen to both your show and mine is am I at that point? Like I hear these two individuals talking about this, but I want to know what really pushed them like specifically to where maybe they could be sitting in their house going, "Holy shit, like that was me right now, like last week. I'm feeling exactly what they're talking about and doing. I need to make a shift." So I'm just curious what that was for you.
there's probably too many to talk in this time
But what's
frame.
the first
But
one that comes to your mind?
so besides the recent events that we were talking about prior to starting this
Mhm.
podcast, so I started working for a gym in the beginning of 21. I got my certification, personal training certification, and got a gym job at an all women's gym. And I live in a very high LDS populated state. So a lot of people didn't drink, but then there was a few of us that did. So fast forward to 22, I got my real estate license and I wanted to learn from the person that owned the gym. He does commercial lending and commercial real estate stuff. And I've always had just kind of an interest in it. And then, he could have been an investor for our group and doing investment properties. I just wanted to learn. And, I thought I could trust somebody. But after what happened to me and talking through therapy or trauma therapy, I was literally groomed. And I didn't know that was a word. I had no idea because I put myself in some pretty sketchy situations. This one was different. I mean, I don't know who has your favorite bottle of whiskey waiting for you at their house. It was just kind of weird. Like he just happened to fall upon this whiskey. And anyways, I woke up with the daughters trying to get into the room and get me. And it took me I between the humiliation, the shame, the like what the heck just happened. I've never been in this situation before. So I told my husband, I called my friend who was a counselor and told her what happened. And she's like, you need to go down and get a blood test right now because I might have been drugged. I don't know. I've never felt so out of it.
Gotcha.
And so it was so messy. The detectives got called. I went down and had the whole rape kit done and a whole entire case, but since alcohol was involved, they got dismissed. And for women that are in my situation that this has happened to, I don't want to go into details because it's just one of those things that sometimes it's extra hard to talk about. So I don't think a lot of women come forward, and I know it happens to men too, but a lot of women don't come forward because justice is never served. The perpetrator is always defended and the victim is always shamed. And so in my situation, there was so much shame and guilt, and I've had to work through trauma therapy. I've done EMDR, and it's something that I just have to live with. Yeah, I've been in some pretty sketchy situations, put myself in situations, but this one was it was disgusting to say the least. And so I've always said, like, after this happened, I said, I put myself in many situations. This one was different. I don't know. There was something about finishing a bottle of whiskey. Why? Like, why would I finish a bottle of whiskey? And then another drink was handed to me. And then after that, I don't remember anything. Like, this is a person that you would look at and really question why would she, I mean, a lot older, like way older, like late 60s, early 70s. If you saw the person, it would make complete sense. Like that I didn't make this up. And it's something that like the victims have to live with. We have to constantly defend ourselves. Well, I went home and I put jeans and a blouse on because it was summertime and I took my shorts and tank top off. Went with the intentions of learning. Like I'm constantly defending myself. It, it was just such an ugly. I grieved. I lost my gym family. I just disappeared off the face of the earth. Nobody reached out to me, but they had an alibi because I got my real estate license shortly before that. So where did Megan go? Oh, well, she decided just to pursue her real estate career. That wasn't the case because I was going to stay personal training. I just let my classes go. But it was really an easy way for them to get out of this because it was a family gym. So the youngest daughter was called by the detective and she was going to go in and talk because apparently this has happened before. And the day of the interview, the detective called and said, "Hey, is she coming in?" And the mom is like, "No, she's not coming in." So the detective, "Well, she's 18. She needs to tell me herself." So that could have been something because I was not the only one that this happened to, but I'm just the only one that had came forward. I talked to other people after this happened and they said the same thing. Well, I know this happened to this person that worked there. Why did this person just disappear? Why did that person just disappear? Why do the girls just disappear off the face of the earth? I mean, why is there no explanation for why they leave?
Well, first off, I'm sorry to hear that that happened to you. And second, thank you for sharing that. I think there's tremendous value in that. And I highly doubt that you're the only, obviously, you're not the only one in that situation. within that gym and everything else. And I'm certain there's so many women who have gone through something very, very similar. So I hate that. I've got 2 daughters. It scares the absolute shit out of me because it is so easy to fall in that trap and being drugged like that. You have no idea. You know what I mean? And it's 2 sips off of a drink. Before you know it, you're waking up somewhere that you never anticipated being in, and you got to go through that whole thing. So yeah, I feel for you there and appreciate you being vulnerable with sharing that because
Well,
that's a tough, tough subject.
and a lot of so since that happened to me, probably 4 out of 8, I mean, probably half the women that I've talked to about this, it's happened to them, and they never told anybody. And then you watch movies that this happens, and nobody comes forward because the perpetrator is always defended. I mean, they alcohol's involved. What can you do? Alcohol's the number 1 date rape drug.
Right? Yeah. And this is, and it's sad to say, but most men on this planet, not most men, I should not say that, but a lot of men, even, people I've been around throughout my years in college and everything else, it's let's get them drunk and fill in the blank, and it's the sad truth. And that is something that I'm definitely going to be teaching my daughters about. And I'm certain that you're teaching your kiddos about too. I forget if you have daughters
Yeah,
or
well, I have 1 of each.
you have one of each. Yeah. So your story is going to be so beneficial for your daughter to hear, as hard as that's going to be to tell her about. That is huge, right? That's another gigantic reason of why drinking is a terrible thing. People just laugh it off. It's like, no, nasty things happen left and right. And people like ourselves are telling these stories. And it's just like, what? They did what? That happened? Huh? And I know there's so many people that are just tossing this by the wayside going, whatever. You're just drinking, having fun. It's
Yeah.
normal, and it's not normal. It shouldn't be normal, but it's a scary, scary place to be. So
Well, and that's like, I mean, I definitely have instigated a lot of things myself and put myself in some gross situations, but that was, I helped instigate that. It led up to like it wasn't just I don't know. I'm probably digging myself a really big hole right now. But I mean, okay, I am guilty of doing things in my past. And like I talked to you just right before this, like, I mean, your past is going to come and get you. I mean, you can't hide it forever. So I'm dealing with things that I did, but this situation was just entirely different than any situation I've ever put myself in when I was drunk. And it's absolutely disgusting.
absolutely. So if I was to meet you during all your drinking days, like when you were heavy into this, how would you describe yourself and how does that compare to who you are today?
Man, I was probably flirty. I mean, I just was the life of the party. Yeah, I guess I would be flirty and probably come off wrong. And I would probably be passed out a few hours after you met me because I
6 shots, she's gone. Yep. Oh, yeah. Megan snored again. We got to
exactly.
go.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would pass out. We'd have friends over. I'd be passed out outside in the chair. I would pass out on the table. I mean, at dinner, going out to dinner. I've been kicked out of concerts. Um, I am blacked out and left the Morgan Wallen concert, and I'm really, really upset about that because now I can't see him for less than $1,000. So I ruined that experience. Reba McEntire ruined that experience. I was just double fisting doubles and was probably drinking on the way there. And then my poor friend at the time, she had to leave the concert too because my husband came and got us. Megan got kicked out. She wasn't allowed back in. I peed outside by the tractor.
Yeah. Why not?
I
You had
got
to go. I mean, whatever.
I don't like the porta potties. What can I say?
Yeah. No, they were angering you in the moment. Like, nope, I'm not having this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. I can think of so many scenarios where I've done the same type of thing. All I wanted to do was get totally hammered, right? It
Yeah.
was just, that was the goal. Like I start early, just drink as much as I can. Same thing. I'm puking before I'm going to go in and see a cool concert. I've
Yeah.
done that. I've gotten out of concerts. I can't even remember where we parked our car. I mean, I've ruined so many just awesome experiences I see now when I've been to a few concerts sober. Holy shit. It is amazing on
Yeah.
a different level where
It
I'm like,
is.
oh, I remember I can feel
Yep.
the music like in my body. I'm just like noticing so many things. And Yeah, I'm a huge sports nut too. And I remember sitting, I was totally wasted, and I'm watching the end of it was when was on the Heat. It's a classic moment. Ray Allen hits the three with a few seconds left. I didn't even realize how incredible the moment that was. I was watching it on TV like with one eye open, and I see the highlight all the time and I cringe inside. I'm like, Christian, you're such an idiot. You barely got to enjoy that experience because you were
Yeah.
so hammered. And it was like a normal Wednesday night. Probably drank some horrific beer that wasn't even good just to get hammered. And so, yeah, I hear you on that. That's exactly how I was too.
Like all those nights you'd stay up watching Netflix till 2 o'clock in the morning, completely blacked out and not remembering. I don't remember the last 4 episodes that I just watched, but you had the 3 bottles of wine and some beers.
Yeah.
So I, um, so my daughter was born in 2016. I didn't have a problem quitting drinking when I got pregnant with her. I mean, it's your first child. You do everything by the book. Well, some of us do. And so I didn't eat the meats. I didn't eat the cheese. I did everything by the book. She came early. I had a very high risk pregnancy. I had placenta previa, which turned into vasa previa. She came at 34 weeks and we were in the NICU for 16 days. Not one time was I tempted to drink. I got home 3 days after she got out of the NICU on my birthday. So she got out April 15th, my birthday, and my cat died April 18th. And I couldn't handle it. I could handle all of that anxiety from having my firstborn in the NICU. I couldn't handle my cat dying. That big bottle of wine took me right back to where I was before I got pregnant. And then I got pregnant with my son, and bet your ass I'm going to drink. I mean, I drank my red wine. I didn't drink hard alcohol. I drank the red wine. I had mimosas because it was a solar eclipse. I was probably 13 weeks pregnant when the solar eclipse, or not, I don't even know. I think I was in my second trimester. I could be wrong. But the solar eclipse, so I had a brunch. Me and my friend were both pregnant. We had mimosas, probably drank too many pregnant. And it just led to like that second pregnancy, I was drinking. And then he got out and I was drinking. I mean, I planned all my drinking around my feedings and it just got so bad. When my daughter was born, I don't know if I've told the story yet to the public. Maybe I have. I don't think I have. We went to a brew fest and then we went to the bar afterwards. My daughter was with my mother-in-law at the time, and I don't think my husband was drinking. I don't know. People are probably going to judge. I was the wasted one. He was not. But he went in to get her and he came out and I had puked all over myself, down the car door, down the window.
I shouldn't laugh, but that's funny.
And so embarrassing. I'm postpartum, so I'm like, I have milk, I'm flabby, like it's just, I'm not confident in my own body. It's a scene. And so my mother in law actually has to shower me and get all the puke off of me. And it's so humiliating. And I mean, there is a
Uh,
thing, beer before liquor, never been sicker. I
yeah, yeah.
was so sick. I'd pass out back in the day. I could pass out standing up against the wall. I mean, wake up in my own puke several times. I mean, just so many disgusting, disturbing stories that the longer I am sober, the more these things start just shaking in my brain. Like, oh my gosh, who was I?
Don't you miss the old Megan? Bring back the old Megan, everybody. Just such a joy to be around.
Well,
Just
the comments that I get on my channel are, I bet you were a fun one to drink with. Yeah, I was fun until I passed out and got
well, usually
obnoxious.
about hour and a half to 2 hour time frame. You get fun Megan, and then after that, it's a total train wreck. But
Well, I mean, because
yeah.
I was the one that could keep up with the guys.
Well, you tried.
I
You tried. The
tried.
guys, the
I would
guys kept going from 2 p.m. until midnight. You were good around, noon to 2 ish. No, I'm just
Exactly.
kidding.
So towards the end of my drinking days, I actually started drinking earlier in the day. I would probably sometimes start drinking at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And then,
Yeah.
and I I don't think I really have talked about that too much on my channel, but it was getting bad. It was definitely, looking back, I realized that it was definitely becoming a more of a problem than it already was. And if I hadn't, I kept saying no to 75 hard. My husband had been asking me for so long to do 75 hard with him. And I was like, I'm not going to give up drinking. That's so stupid. So,
Yeah, why would you do that?
right. I mean, hello. And then I like right around the halfway mark, I think I dumped out all the booze in my house, minus the stragglers of cans in the fridge that weren't mine that I would have never touched anyways. I dumped out all the hard alcohol. And I just, at that moment, something just snapped in my brain, and I realized what alcohol was doing to me and how good I felt being sober. And I never wanted to go back to being that person. So just what is it called? My husband had the perfect word for it the other day. Like, um, not self-encouragement. What is the word? I don't know. I just have this, people ask me all the time, how do you stay quit? I can't
Just
give you,
like a self-discipline, like a just yeah, I'm not sure what word you're searching
yeah,
for, but just kind of like I'm done with this. And it was just a finality in your brain of like, yeah, it's been a good ride. I'm out.
yeah. And so like a lot of people ask me like, how do you stay quit? What do you do? What are your tools? Well, I mean, I could give you all my tools, but it's also a mindset thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
so go deeper into that because I know people who are listening, paying attention to what we're doing, that is always a question I get asked too is, well, how do you do this? Right? People are on the fence going, yeah, I know I'm the guy getting blacked out and puking and doing the thing, but like, is it really a problem? And even if I decided to quit, like, the hell's my life gonna look like? I'm just gonna sit there and drink water all fucking day and it's gonna be totally miserable. Like, go into kind of your genuine, hey, this is how I did it, and here's how you can do it too.
so I've always been into health and fitness. I've always been so disciplined when it came to working out, eating right, drinking my water, just being healthy, right? And everybody had always looked up to me because I was the healthy one. I mean, I did personal training for crying out loud. I just, and so I never had discipline when it came to alcohol. But through 75 Hard, I had always like kind of listened to personal development along the way, like here and there. I think I started personal development in 2018. The first book that I read was Rachel Hollis, Girl Stop Apologizing, or something like that. Uh, she has two books. So that's when I first started listening to personal development. And then during 75 Hard, I dove into it even more. I had to physically read 10 pages every single day. And so when people ask me, I'm like, you're reading these personal development books, but it gets in your brain. Like there's so much more to this life than sitting around drinking. Fast forward now, I actually started listening to quit lit books. I never listened to quit lit books when I was trying to quit drinking or when I was quitting drinking. And I tell people maybe it'll help you, maybe it won't. I don't know. Personal development books in general will help you because they get in your brain some way, shape, or form if you actually have an open mind to it. The quit lit books are more like an educational tool for me now. So I read them and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did this, this, and this, and this too. Like that's what's in my toolbox too. Making sure I have healthy snacks, making sure I'm staying hydrated, just keeping my mind with positive stuff. And my biggest go-to when I quit drinking was putting everything in a fancy glass. I would put bubbly water in a fancy glass. I'd get lemonade, iced tea, anything, and just put it in the same wine glass, fancy tumbler, anything. It was definitely my go-to. I need a shirt that says "Give it to me in a fancy glass." It's going out to dinners now. I still like the NA drinks because they come pretty and they're garnished. People always say stop romanticizing the mocktails. It's not romanticizing. I just like the fancy glasses. I like the fancy
Sure. Yeah.
drinks. And I think walking, so during 75 Hard, my second workout, my outside workout was generally walking for 45 minutes outside. But a lot of the quit lit books that I listen to, walking is a number one tool in all of their toolboxes. And so I look back at all these things that I was doing during 75 Hard, and this is what everybody else has done too that have stayed sober. Personal development, walking, water, healthy food. You just have to surround yourself with people that aspire to be better also, because those that, want to keep dragging you down, that is going to be hard. But
Hmm.
just moving your body, getting outside. If you have an urge to drink, grab something different. Kombucha, I don't know. I mean, people ask about the sugar and stuff, but in the beginning, I didn't have sugar. I had sugar cravings, but I wasn't allowed to have sugar or I would have failed 75 Hard. So I made my own sweet treats with protein powder. I would do chocolate protein balls, or I would make my own Reese's peanut butter cups with chocolate protein powder and peanut butter. And so it just satisfied that sugar craving. And or Greek yogurt with chocolate protein powder, like it's like a whip. I don't know. But
Yeah.
there's just so many things that not just one thing keeps me sober, but it's a combination of so many things. And when you really look, it's playing that tape forward also, because when you look at how disgusting you've been, I never want to go back to that ever, ever. My kids deserve a much better mom. I'm more present. We do way more things. I noticed that is one of the things that I noticed almost right off the bat, besides the bloating going away. But is I was doing things with my kids. I was taking them down to the river. I was going to the lake. I was going on hikes. I was taking them with me places. Before I was selfish. And no, this is my time. I'm going to drink. Vacations were about me. Me, 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 me. Everything was me, 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 because it was about the alcohol. Alcohol was my best friend.
Yeah, I hear you 100%. That was the only focus. That's so cool. I appreciate you saying, and for those that don't know what 75 hard is, it's, it's kind of something a lot of people are doing to reset you, if you will. Not necessarily people that are struggling with drinking. It's like you're out of it, you're out of shape, you just want a nice reset, and it gives you some structured pieces, tools, like you said, and it is a great, great deal. I mean, because it locks you in of thinking in that mindset of I have certain tasks I have to do every day. So that shifts your mindset off of I love eating sugar all day. I love eating like crap. I'm going to sit on the couch all day. I'm going to drink a bunch. So it keeps you away from that. And I think what you mentioned there is so key for people to hear is you need to come up with other things that you focus on, because we all put alcohol as the number one thing. I plan my calendar around that shit. I'd be like,
Yeah,
okay, I need, as I started getting older, I'm like, I need definitely 2 days to recover. So I'm going to drink here, here, here. And then I'd always not follow that plan. And I'd just be like, I'm just going to suffer through those 2 days that I wanted to recover. So it's so nice now. I do the same thing, is just have a disciplined, rigid structure to your day. And people think that's crazy, but it is so true. You got to do hard stuff, the hard things. It gets us out of our comfort zone, keeps us just motivated, keeps us just alive and developing as human beings. It's so key. And when we're sitting with that bottle of booze, we so just put a cap on our potential and limit ourselves. We are just so numbed out, so checked out. And if there's anybody listening who's doing that, like we're telling you, we experience this now. We're 2 years in. Like the things that I enjoy now, Megan, I laugh so hard. It's the most basic of things. Like just the other day, I was sitting here and my girls were watching the show. I walked down, I got a really cool view at my place, and it was a gorgeous sunset that night. And I was like, girls, pause that show, come out here. I would have never done that shit
right?
because A, I wouldn't have cared. B, I would have been probably on my third IPA, like just in my head, like not even remotely present. So you just completely shift what it is that you care about and what you do.
Exactly.
And that takes time though. And I'm sure you can speak on that too, of like, this wasn't necessarily, yeah, it was in your mind, a quick, like, yeah, I'm done with this. But I'm certain you've had days of struggle, and, we all have, where it's like, we're stressed. The trigger is booze, or I feel lonely. I want to go hang out with people, and that involves drinking. And now I can't do that anymore because I've had to remove myself from that circle. So my question for you on that actually is, how has your relationships changed around you, and your relationship with yourself changed since you stopped?
So before I answer that, I do want to say 75 Hard is a mental toughness challenge. That is why it works. That is why Andy Frisella, if you guys listen to episode 208, uh, obviously I'm not a sponsored person. Uh, I on To answer your question, also I listened to another one of Andy's podcasts about dark energy. And I think that's something that has helped keep me sober, because I was looking at the people around me, and nobody believed that I could finish 75 hard, because they thought I would do it or I would fail because of alcohol. And so I took that dark energy that Andy talks about in one of his episodes, and I ran with that. People around me didn't believe in me. I mean, not even my own husband, but I mean, nobody when people say, "Oh, your husband didn't even believe in you," you guys, my drinking was so bad that I didn't even believe in myself, but I knew that I was not going to let other people win, or I was not going to fail because of alcohol, because that's what everybody thought that I was going to do. So my relationships shifted, and I just did a video on this. It's not released yet, but I don't think I lost people per se. I think we just grew apart. Our relationships shifted. I, like relationship with my kids got better. I had people around me that my relationship was just based on alcohol. We'd get together. That's the only thing that we knew how to do. We didn't have anything else in common. And our kids were the same age, but nothing else was in common. Like these people didn't like to work out or eat healthy or, be active. It was the common denominator was always alcohol. So when you take that out, I was always the one to invite everybody, include everybody. If it wasn't for me, nobody got together. So guess what? Nobody gets together anymore because Meghan doesn't drink. Meghan doesn't host. I don't buy all the food anymore. I don't buy all the drinks anymore. So that definitely has shifted. People kind of like call us selfish sometimes, or they're really confused, more so certain pieces of our family. I won't throw people under the bus, but some people just are confused why we don't want to be around alcohol anymore. And it's not like we can go to concerts, we can go to dinner with friends, we can go to people's houses and stuff, but I just don't want it in my house anymore. I don't want to have to deal with the sloppiness. So that's been kind of something that maybe is a work in progress, but relationships have changed. Some are pretty messy right now, unrepairable at the moment. But I mean, there's always hope, right? You hope and pray that somebody stops drinking and that the bond can be fixed. But in the meantime, they don't understand why we don't want to be around alcohol. But there's certain people in our life that we just cannot handle drunk. So those relationships have definitely been more destroyed. But with not drinking, a family focus, the four of us, has been the main thing. Like I go to concerts with my husband now. I used to just go with my girlfriends. I have felt a little left out sometimes. Like, why didn't I get invited? But I think the thing is people they feel awkward when you're not drinking, probably because they think that you can't be around alcohol. That's not the case at all. Like, I don't have a problem with, like, I'm not going to go drink because I'm around a bunch of people drinking. I just don't like when it gets sloppy and gross and annoying. So we take ourselves out of a lot of situations now, and we just do things with the four of us or just the two of us, which is completely the way it probably should be. Should have been the whole time.
That's a perfect description of how that goes. And I think for people that are in this position of being terrified to quit because their whole identity is wrapped up in all this and with the people that they hang out with, and those people expect you to be that person, And so when you shift that, it's like the mirror goes over to them and that makes people very uncomfortable. And I think, you know, I also want to get your take and your opinion on this. Do you think it's vital that anybody who wants to quit drinking is going to have to make some changes in relationships with people around them? Or do you think that that's not as big of a factor as we might think?
So that is a huge one because I didn't know anything about boundaries until I quit drinking.
Same here.
And I hear that from a lot of people. They're
Yeah.
like, no, I had to start putting boundaries in place. The people that knew you one way, they don't like those boundaries. They hate them. They will cause so many issues because you put a boundary up. For instance, it was Thanksgiving, and my husband wanted to have Thanksgiving at our house with the request of everybody being sober. Heaven for freaking bid. Heaven forbid. Oh my gosh. That was the end of that relationship. And it has been hard and destroyed. And I feel terrible for my kids because, I mean, it's a really sad situation because you cannot give up alcohol for 4 hours to come to a dinner. You realize that you never had boundaries in place, and then you start putting boundaries in place, and your life starts getting a lot better and you become stronger. It's hard. Trust me, I have gone through my therapist at the time when I first quit drinking. So in the early stages, I think I was like 4-ish months, I was describing some anger, and she said, "You're gonna go over this rainbow, but then you're gonna come back." And she's the pink cloud. I'm terrible at explaining it. I always tell people to go look it up because I'm terrible at explaining
Google
things.
that. Pink
Yes,
cloud.
pink
Figure it
cloud.
out.
So there was this anger inside of me for probably a good 2 to 3 months, and it was just because starting to put those boundaries in place, it feels weird, and it's not that we intentionally did it, it's just something that we wanted different for our life, and people had to start respecting that, and when they don't respect it, like you said, it's like putting a mirror up to their self, and they have to, look at their life and how far we've come. And it was always like, well, your wife had the drinking problem. It's a good thing she quit drinking. She, caused a lot of problems. She did this, she did that. But they don't even look at what they've done.
No, nobody wants to look in the mirror. I mean,
No.
that's the hardest part with sobriety. And I'm right with you. Setting boundaries that screwed me in so many ways up until recently. And I have found it's been so empowering to finally have them. And I will feel it like in the moment I have to enforce one. It takes some time, and a lot of times when you enforce the boundary, you may inevitably lose that relationship. And that's something that I want to make very clear with people who are listening is you're gonna lose people when it comes to becoming sober, but that's a really good and okay thing. It's scary at the beginning, but you can look back and go, well, let me think what did that relationship provide me? Was what I thought in my brain of how good that was? Can I go back in time and actually look at that relationship for what it was? And I've done that in many scenarios. And I'm always like, yeah, wow, that wasn't what I really thought it was in the moment. And now I'm grateful that it's no longer there. And it sounds mean, but it's like we're all individuals. It's okay for us to grow past a relationship or find out that you were in the wrong crowd. And I think that's so cool to figure that out. And it totally slams the door wide open to meeting a lot of other cool people who align with who you are and what you're about. And it's like, oh, what a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. So there's this book, and like 4 years ago, it was recommended to me, and I just started reading it a couple months ago. And I've taken my time with it because it's something that I really want to like really dissect or like get into my brain. So Lisa Turkhurst, she wrote a book called Good Boundaries and Goodbyes, and it really explains these types of relationships and how, some of these relationships that fall out could just be for a season. And, you eventually find your way back to them. Like family, for instance, if you're upside down with your family right now, maybe it's just a season and it'll eventually get better. And then there was there's so many good books. I had Amanda Kuda. She wrote Unbottled Potential. She was on my podcast. There's a part in there that she talks about relationships also that it just resonated with me so much. Just because, and this is something that I had to actually like open my mind to, we're the ones that changed. The way she describes it in that chapter is we're the ones that changed. So it's not always fair to just expect so much from those other people, but especially when it comes to invites and stuff. Like she had friends that, did go out of their way to start inviting her to yoga and stuff versus, going to drink like mimosas. But it takes two if you want the relationship to work. It takes both parties because we're the ones that changed. And it is very intimidating to those that only knew that drinking version of us. That book's a really good one also.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
Boundaries and Goodbyes is a really, really, there's so much to that book because a lot of us struggle with it so much when we quit drinking.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that was honest to God, my number one hang up was if I do this and I know deep down I want to, how does that blow up the whole dynamic around me? And to be honest with you, it totally did. I mean, there were many things that happened for me. I mean, I left a business, I left a relationship, and in the moment I had to work through that in therapy, like why do I feel so shitty about this even though I know I had to quit drinking. I'm a non-drinker. I've wanted to be that guy even when I was a teenager, and I was until I wasn't. And it's been, yeah, it is tough, but there's such a badass community of people doing the same thing that I had no idea. I white knuckled my way through the whole thing, and here I am meeting all these great people after the fact, but still so grateful for that. But I tell everyone, it's okay. Find your people. That's with business, with any development you want, relationship, any of those things. You need to surround yourself with people. You can't do it on your own. And I've had to learn that the hard way, and also learn the hard way of I always did feel alone throughout my life. Drinking was my best buddy, right?
Right.
And I had to sit with that, and I have, and it's been so empowering to know that regardless of how the relationships around me go, I still got me, and now I finally love who I am. I know who I am. There's no like I know how to sift through people immediately now. I could feel energy off people, be like, I don't want any part of that. And I'm not going to be the old Christian of like, oh yeah, let me just smile and laugh at your jokes and try to mold myself in scenarios. And I always prided myself on being that total people pleaser. Like I can get along with
Yeah.
anybody. Now I love the fact that I can go, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good with those relationships being done. I'm good with pissing people off, even family members. It doesn't matter anymore because I'm like, I'm still left with me 24/7, and I've now seen that there's so many other great people.
So
Anyways,
there's, I know that we probably have to close out soon, but there is something to say meeting people when you're sober because they are a genuine connection versus, building relationships on just alcohol. And I am coaching somebody right now and I'm like, stay sober, build this new relationship sober instead of, building it on a drinking relationship because then you'll know each other genuinely, not masked. I don't know. Like I've met like one of my really close friends now. I met her after I quit drinking and oh my gosh, like she's absolutely amazing. And I mean, I would have never, she's not one that I would go drink with. I did go bar hopping with her. We went and we drank off the mocktail. The Boise has so many fun NA, like you can go to bars and they have like NA lists. So it's a really fun place to still like, and I never bar hopped. I was not a bar goer. I was just I'm gonna get wasted at home type drinker. Um or at concerts. But that was my first experience, and I don't recommend that in the very early phases, but you can still have so much fun sober.
yeah, no, absolutely. It's a mindset thing too. It's where you think you are missing out. I did that all the time. I'd see someone drinking beers and then it just hit me of like, oh, I'm not having any fun. You start getting spun up in your head, and it's a process, right? You got to make that transition, but once you do, it works out pretty well. But yeah, before we let you go here, talk about sober strong. What does that mean to you? Like what's your definition of sober strong? How did that come about for you?
Okay, so um my channel originally started probably May or June of 2023 to be a fitness and health channel.
Gotcha.
And
Okay, cool.
I did workouts, they're all taken down now. Then we started 75 hard and my husband's like, "Why don't you just do a video on, you not drinking?" That video got it took like a couple weeks to take off, but it got 280,000 views within like a month, which for a brand new channel who only has 100 subscribers, that was a pretty big deal. And right then and there, that was the missing piece of my life. I said, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I take the fitness and health part of it and the sobriety part of it, and it just becomes sober strong because I mean, we're sober strong, right? I don't know. It has kept me, and maybe I didn't mention that in the beginning of this podcast, but that video changed my life. It has kept me here in this community. I've helped thousands of people. I'm over 1.6 million views now. If they could all turn to subscribers, that would be great. But my channel didn't start with sobriety. But everybody that has followed me along the way, they've seen the beginning stages of me and the growing stages of me. They've watched me from the very beginning and they've stayed with me. And a lot of people have liked that I mean, I wish I would have recorded the very first few weeks of my journey, but I didn't because I didn't ever expect to be in this space. And now I'm coaching people. I mean, it literally has changed my life. So, yeah. if that
That's so
answers the
cool,
question.
Megan. Oh, it does, totally. Yeah, I was just curious, and that's such a cool tie-in with the sober strong.
Like,
Makes perfect sense to me now. Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's so cool that people latched right on. It wasn't like you scared people off who were following you like, screw this, I'm here to work out, not to quit drinking.
I
But
mean,
it's something that's taken some good traction with a lot of people now of like, yeah, it's we got to start looking at this, you know? So that's so cool.
and I just want to say it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. If you are literally, I share stories from people that think they have a drinking problem and want to quit drinking and they've quit drinking successfully. I've had people with delirium tremens. I've had people with liver failure literally dead and come back to life. So I don't think anyone's journey is better or worse than the other person's. I think we're all have the same goal and it's to be sober. So, whether you resonate with the person that is suffering from delirium tremens or the mom that couldn't quit drinking and was a blackout artist. I mean, we all have a story and we all resonate with somebody one way or the other.
So how do you personally stay strong while you're pouring yourself into all these people in your community?
I have my community is my go-to. I do daily posts. I rarely miss a daily post. Maybe they won't always be at 5:30 in the morning, but they'll be there. So when I was going through what we were going through a couple of weeks ago, I wrote a post and I didn't go into detail, but I asked for prayers and I had a whole entire community coming to me and just messaging me and commenting and just being that like prayer team that we needed in that time. And it just like this community is what keeps me strong because without this community, there would be no strength.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that so much. That is the key, building community when you're going through tough stuff like this, and even for you being the leader of the community and even being totally real and vulnerable with people. People latch onto that, right? It's okay to admit that you're struggling. It's okay to admit that you're drinking too much, that you're going through some rough stuff. It just sucks if you sit there by yourself going through that, which a lot of us have. I was totally culprit of that. I mean, I've been that guy just struggling and being absolutely depressed and miserable. I can't figure out why. Well, guess what? It's because I have nobody else to relate to. No one wants to listen to these problems. I'm just going to numb it out and be the fun drunk and fun Christian and move on. So
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest thing you're doing. And kudos to you
You
for,
meet people. You meet your
yeah,
like I mean the word maybe isn't soulmates, but you meet your people through this environment. Maybe I'll never meet maybe any of you in person. I mean, maybe a couple of you eventually, but like it's like it's your own little army. When you build a community so strong, it's like your own little army.
yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. So where can people go to connect with you in your community?
So I'm off of the other platforms for now. I focus
I
on you.
saw that. You're not on Instagram anymore. What the heck? How am I supposed to stay motivated to be sober, Megan? You're screwing me up here.
Subscribe to my channel. So my YouTube is Sober Strong, hence Sober Strong. And we have a private coaching community. It's private because not everybody wants to be on a public platform and talk about things. So
Gotcha.
it's
Yeah.
private, which you can find on my YouTube channel. It's under the join button, not the subscribe button, but please subscribe. And then my website, you can find me there. My coaching, I do a discovery call, like a 30-minute free discovery call. Thesoberstrong.com is where. So YouTube Sober Strong, and then website is thesoberstrong.com. And my email's there. And if you comment on anything, I usually respond if people ask a question.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Megan, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. I so appreciate you sharing a lot of that vulnerable information for people. And I think that's the key is to just show that we're all human in this. We all have certain identities that at times can be tied right into alcohol, but you're perfect proof of someone who's completely shifted that around. And it's so, so cool to see what you're doing. And I'm absolutely a big fan and follow along on what you're doing. And I hope everybody that's listening hops on that same channel. So again, appreciate your time, Megan,
Well,
and
thank you.
keep it going. Keep it
Thank you.
going. People got to hear your message. So
And
appreciate you.
you've been so fun to talk to. It was like super chill and easy. I mean, not all podcasts go super smooth, but I had such a blast with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Appreciate it. All righty. Thanks a lot, Megan. We'll see you.
Thank you.